Welcome to the Werewolf by Night bonus show. This is a show for our Patreon subscribers that we do every week, and we normally review a movie. Matt has a special segment that's called The Urge to Scourge, and then we just shoot the shit and talk about what we've been doing. So this week we watched a movie called Wolfen from 1981. I think we said this last time. We're going to do there were 4 important werewolf films that came out in 1981. And The Howling, Wolfen, American Werewolf in London, and Full Moon High. So this is our second one. We're going to talk about Wolfen tonight.
Yeah, and this is also, every once in a while, we make one of our bonus episodes available to the public. This is something that's normally exclusively for Patreon supporters, but this is a good one to just give as a sample out. So this is kind of what we do every week after the show, and it's just more content for you to dig on. So, yeah, have a listen. See if it fits you. Walk around. Try them on. They squeak. They pinch your toes.
So is this just making the audio version available to people, or the video one as well?
I'm going to do both. I'm going to put it up on YouTube like normal, but I will just turn it on to public, and I will share the link like I normally do and just let our Patreon folks know that I'm doing that 2 or 3 times a year thing I do where I give it away just to let the folks check it out.
Oh, that's great. You do such a great job video editing these every week. It's premium content. Premium content.
See? Just paid for itself. Okay, yeah. So, Wolfen. I had never seen this before.
Me neither.
I was kind of familiar with the VHS box art, the name, knowing that it came from the same era of the early 80s, but that's about all I knew about it.
Yeah, I was fairly unfamiliar with it, honestly. Like I don't know if I had really heard too much of it before. So I was coming into it totally blind. I loved everyone in it. Like I love all the actors in it. And I wasn't as familiar with the director, Michael Waldley, because he's pretty much just done one thing, which is direct Woodstock.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, that's literally like one of the only things he's ever done. He's directed like 4 things, but on his IMDb, there's like 10 things, but they're all Woodstock related. And can I tell you that my parents had Woodstock recorded like off of OPB or PBS on VHS. I was a very sickly kid, so I laid on our couch and watched a lot of stuff. And Woodstock was my favorite movie when I was like 5 years old.
Wow. Okay. So you and Charlton Heston are big fans of Woodstock.
Yeah.
Because that's all he had in that theater. So one thing, folks, typically when we do a werewolf movie, they're usually a little more obscure or something, and we kind of like, I cut in footage from it, or I'll play the trailer. But on these big 4 ones, I don't want to get copyright dinged, so we're just going to be mostly talking about it. I might throw up a couple stills on the poster here and there, but typically there'd be a little more video going on in the film section. But yeah, I don't know, first impressions.
First impressions for me, I mean, I kind of knew just from reading a tiny bit about this that we weren't going to be seeing Wolfmen. Like this is the one out of the 4 that came out that year that is much more steeped in Native American tradition. I thought we might be seeing some skinwalker type stuff or wolf spirits, and yeah, I was not wrong. That's definitely the narrative thrust of this film. And I was, I don't know, first impressions, I really liked it as less as a werewolf film, as a typical werewolf film, as more of like a dark crime thriller in a way. And it stars Albert Finney, Diane Vernora, Gregory Hines, and Edward James Olmos. And can I just say right off the bat that I want 10 movies where it's Albert Finney and Gregory Hines as a buddy comedy.
I know.
They were so fucking cool. Oh my God. Like they had the best chemistry I'd seen in a long time. I wanted nothing but that actually for the whole film, which we didn't get. was a little bummed out by that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, like you said, the one film in this quadrology that we're watching of 1991 werewolf films that is not an orthodox werewolf film. So, and again, like you, I'd read just blurbs, like one sentence synopses and stuff that just kind of let us know that there was a Native American aspect and it was kind of more spiritual or more kind of classical mysticism than straight up monsters. Yeah, so I didn't know anything about it, and I enjoyed it. To me, it kind of like you said, it's a crime thriller with supernatural elements in it. Sometimes it almost seemed like a less dramatic, like Seven or something like that, where it's like,
A little bit.
like a pairing of this like old grizzled cop and this young kind of brash guy, and they're kind of pursuing this strange criminal. First off, I would just say the production values are off the charts on this thing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely gorgeously photographed, and the score was striking. I mean, almost every scene there was something notable in it where it's just like, God, that's just a great framing. That's such a cool movement, or that's, you know what I mean, such great depth of frame or whatever field. It was just beautiful to look at.
And also, on the technical side, it was kind of groundbreaking in a way in its use of thermography, which most people would be familiar with as the Predator effect, something that was used probably better by whatever 86, 87 when Predator came out. But there's a lot of shots from the Wolfen perspective, which is all in this what they call thermography. And I thought that was really cool. But like you said, just the cinematography, just the composition of the shots, everything about it. Like, I did not expect to like it this much, but it's a gorgeous film. Like, it's gritty and beautiful. And I mean, even just the first shot is Edward James Olmos plays this Native American man. And he, the first shot of the film is him like standing on, I don't know, the fucking Brooklyn Bridge or something. It's one of those giant bridges in New York. Just, whirling one of those stones around his head, and just the fuck, like it was so cool. And then it just goes from there. And did you recognize Tom Waits as the bar owner? It's a blink if you miss it.
I heard a Tom Waits song in a bar, but I didn't know until I read trivia afterwards that there was a longer scene where he's the bar owner that got cut out.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that I could see him in one of the scenes, but I don't know. Maybe I thought that just for a flash I could see him. But yeah, he has an uncredited appearance that I feel like you said, was mostly cut out. Mm-hmm. But I think that would be one of the earliest on-camera appearances of Tom Waits, if I'm correct.
As an actor?
As an actor, yeah. I mean, I know One from the Heart comes out later on, not too much longer after that. But I don't know about you. I'm a lifelong Tom Waits fanatic, and I was very excited to even just see that he was a part of this, and just in any way possible. So that made me really happy. So what did you think of what'd you think of the actors? What did you think of Diana Venora, I think her name is?
Diane Venora, yeah. I liked her. Actually, I'd never heard of her or seen her before, so she was a new find to me. I didn't poke around much around her filmography, but Albert Finney is amazing. I'm sure you read also that Dustin Hoffman asked to do this role and was turned down by the director because he wanted Albert Finney specifically for it, because it's one of his favorite actors. One of the few times Dustin Hoffman has ever been denied anything he's requested in Hollywood.
That made me happy when I read that. Nothing against Dustin Hoffman, but I like when those kind of rightfully so egomaniacs gets like, no. And Albert Finney hadn't been in that many movies at all. He'd had like one minor role because his girlfriend was in the movie, kind of thing. I think he was a stage actor. He was. But fuck, he was so good in this.
Yeah, and his character of Dewey, I forgot his last name, but he's a very lived-in character, Dewey Wilson.
God.
So, I mean, from the beginning, we meet him, and he needs a haircut. He's wearing like a sweatsuit. You can't tell if he's running or he just woke up. Like he's out getting coffee and a paper, and he gets called in, and he's clearly been off duty for a while. And we find out later it's because he had some problems with alcohol, some family problems, some mental health issues, and so he just been kind of sidelined. We don't know if that meant like paid administrative leave or if like what, but they bring him in for the specific case. Before we dive into this narrative, though, I want to say that on top of like the cinematography, I was completely ignorant of the fact that this huge section of the Bronx in the late 70s and early 80s looks like fucking Dresden. Like all of this area of New York City had just gone to ruin where it was not kept up by the landlords, and squatters moved in. These buildings burned out and they just were left unleveled for a while. There's a set in this amidst all this rubble and ruin that just seems to go on forever. There's a creepy church which was actually built for this, so that was a set that they added to this landscape. But this landscape is apocalyptic and nightmarish. I mean, it looks like upside down world.
It does, and like you're saying, I mean, this is one of those first waves of gentrification that was happening, and that's a big plot point of this movie. Is these Wall Street, fat cats coming in and wanting to demolish these old derelict buildings and build these giant high rises that are all about Wall Street and coke and douchebags, and so this is one of those. This was the first wave, really, of that. And
to this film's credit, and maybe to some advancements, at least an awareness of that issue, I felt like after the opening scene and the first murders, I knew exactly what the plot was, but only because it's 2022 and we're all kind of woke now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you figure out almost immediately, like the motivations?
I mean, I definitely figured the motivations. I didn't exactly know what the Wolfen were, what form they were. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, anyone that listens to this podcast knows we're all about eating the rich. So I was like, this is right up my alley. I know what this is about. This was not coded. This was very blatant, and I fucking loved it.
But I imagine at that point, though, like 81, I think this was kind of that wave of that 80s, like you're saying, like all the gentrification and all the Wall Street, the rise of the rich with Reagan doing union busting and all that shit. I mean, the 80s dismantled the middle class, and the last 3 decades have been just the fallout of that, or 4 decades. So... yeah, I mean, I think now we're all very, very crystal clear on what was going on, and we've all been had. But back then, this was kind of a cutting edge social story, I think. Yeah, I mean, the novel was from '78. This is '81, so this was all pretty cutting edge stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, the novel, like you said, it was based on a novel by Whitley Strieber, who wrote Communion. I didn't know he wrote The Hunger.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
that's I'd seen that a long time ago. It's actually on my list. I think it's on HBO Max right now, and I'm like, fuck, I got to watch that again.
Oh, it's been like 20, probably closer to 30 years since I've seen it.
I think it's been about 15 years for me, for sure. And so I'm just like, fuck, a vampire movie with Bowie in it? Yeah, shit, I need to rewatch that.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's a real... Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, just to kind of give a little bit of the plot. I mean, like you say, it starts out with this this murder of some rich folks that we kind of realize there's some development going on. He's a rich man that is from a very wealthy family that is involved in this first wave of gentrification. And yeah, like you said, Albert Finney is the main detective with his partner, and they just they're these animal attacks. It's like for the whole film, they're either like, oh, it's a rogue animal, or it's a terrorist cell, which was also one of those things that maybe was kind of more in the public eye in 1981. So
Goddard-Dameron or something.
Yeah, Goddard-Dameron. Yeah. And so it's Dewey and his partner Rebecca, and Yeah, their investigation kind of leads them back to Edward James Olmos, who plays this Native American man named Eddie Holt. Did you think? I mean, I know we do a little bit better with casting these days than we did back then, and I checked, and Michael Horse was only 2 years younger than Edward James Olmos, and I really could see Michael Horse in this, like a young, lithe, angry Michael Horse. To see his penis instead of Edward James Olmos, like, I don't know, man. That's fine by me.
Yeah. Speaking of penises,
there's a lot of almost penis in this. So
almost penis.
There is. Prepare yourself.
So yeah, the first crime happens after a groundbreaking event on a new property development, which should, again, just what tipped me off here a little bit, but also the rich property magnate, Wall Street scumbag, and his wife are riding in their limo. It's like they've been celebrating their anniversary / this groundbreaking all night long. It's 5 or 6 in the morning. They stop off at Battery Park, and you don't know why at first, but they're looking at this Vanderveer, like, here's where the first windmill was in New York City, and it's this recreation of this windmill of this Dutch family. And then you come to find out he is a Vanderveer. So then that also makes it more crystalline, like, oh, so colonists came over here, put this thing down, and so they're being stalked by this thermal vision predator, and there's his driver / security guard, this Haitian guy, is attacked, and he actually pulls a gun out when he sees the predator coming, and it chops his hand off, which is still twitching like 3 minutes later, holding the gun. And then the wife is killed, and there's this very Batman-esque spilling of her pearls and blood onto the ground.
Not awesome.
And that completely made sense to me as well. Like, I was like, oh, okay, because Manhattan, I don't know where Battery Park is because I'm stupid, but like Manhattan was bought for beads and baubles for the Native Americans. And so I was like, okay, I think I know what's going on here. But but to see it play out, it was incredibly intelligent script, by the way.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wasn't shocked because I didn't really know anything about this film, but we've watched a lot of these werewolf films in the course of our podcast, almost 50, I think, at this point. And I was not expecting something so intelligent and just so well written, and the characters so lived in. Mm-hmm. Gregory Hines, man, this is my favorite Gregory Hines movie.
Yeah, me too.
By far now. Holy shit. He is just as charming as fuck and looks kick ass.
Yeah.
And oh man, like he plays like a coroner kind of guy, like a guy that works at the morgue.
An ME, yeah.
Yeah, an ME. And God, he was so fucking cool.
He was
I could not believe how cool he was.
And this web of experts that Albert Finney's character, Dewey, who everyone just calls Dew, that he, in pursuit of this case, is fascinating. Like Gregory Hines as the ME, who reveals that, I mean, there's these insane incisions and decapitations and stuff like that. And, he's saying like, there's no metal in the body. And like, Finney's like, what? And he's like, no, like normally if there's a knife, there's like residue of metal from the blade that's left there. And there's detectable by X-ray or something, but there's nothing. So this is an organic material that is not metallic in any sense. Not, that was fascinating. So, I mean, they're already nudging you there. And then there's I forgot who the other guy was, that specialist. I think he's like the guy in RoboCop that gets nuclear waste dumped on him and gets hit by a car.
Are you talking about like the zoologist Baldy? That they bring in?
No, not Tom Noonan. There's
not Tom Noonan.
There's another dude that I think was that guy from RoboCop.
Oh, okay, I think you're right. But did you recognize like the chief? He's the owner of the circus and the jerk, right?
Oh yeah, he is. That guy's been in a ton of stuff.
Oh, I know. I was like, but that's what I know him from the most, because the jerk is just one of my favorite movies of all time.
Me
so
too.
I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah. See what else? Tom Noonan, who he's such a strange dude, and he was in a film we talked about last season, Late Phases. He played a religious figure. I can't remember if he was a priest or a minister or whatever, but he was fucking creepy in that. He's really charming in this film as a zoologist, but
it was the
creepy as
most
shit.
it was the most charming I'd ever seen him. I think the last chronological thing that I saw him in was that Charlie Kaufman movie, Synecdoche, New York. He plays the analog for Philip Seymour Hoffman's character that he hires later on.
I need to just buy that movie.
I know. I get it. Like my other partner in podcasts, Chris Matheson, hates that movie more than anything on earth. And
does he not like Charlie Kaufman in general? Like he doesn't like being John Malkovich?
No, he doesn't like Charlie Kaufman, and I get it. I get the criticisms. I just happen to like it. I like
Sunshine?
movies.
I don't trust anybody who doesn't like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, that's one that I don't know. It was funny. I read some review or something that's one of like the 10 best reviewed films of all time. Like it's beloved and everyone loves it. And yeah, I think you're right. I'm not going to ask Chris if he likes that movie because that could end our friendship.
You want to keep working with him.
I do want to keep working with him. So, but yeah, I'm like you. I thought Synecdoche, New York was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I thought of it a lot during HBO Max's The Rehearsal. This
For sure.
Nathan Fielder's newest show, which kind of takes the concepts of Synecdoche, New York, and puts it into a reality TV show lens, like a prism.
Oh, yeah.
And explores that in fascinating and hilarious and uncomfortable and strange, mind-bending ways.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when I was watching episode 6 that it was the season finale or the finale of the show. I was so bummed because I watched every episode like 3 times.
I know, me too.
Anyway, my point was you were saying that was the last film you'd seen Tom Noonan in, and I think I didn't realize that. But the last thing I remembered him seeing him in was like around 2009, which was The House of the Devil by Ty West. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think I've seen it. No,
you should watch it. It's a complete throwback to the early 80s kind of satanic panic slasher movies. And
awesome.
It's a super slow burn movie. I saw it with Renee and a friend of ours, Jason Farrell, was a guy I used to podcast with, a book podcast. But we went on a double date to see this movie at Living Room Theaters, and Renee didn't really. The soundtrack is like absolutely perfect. The way the Stranger Things soundtrack is absolutely note perfect to its era. And it looks like it's shot on this 80s stock of film, all this stuff, all the clothing, blah, blah. So we left and we were talking about something, and she's like, that wasn't from the 80s? I was like, no, buddy, that was made like a year ago. He was making it look like it was 1984. Anyway, check that out. Maybe not with your wife.
Maybe not.
It's not hyper violent, but there's like a couple things that happen that are. It's like this Rosemary's Baby, that same thing where it's just like you feel like you're crawling out of your skin with like paranoia by the end of it, and then when things happen, it's like just makes you snap.
Yeah, speaking of Rosemary's Baby, I gave my son who is in his early to was almost in his mid-20s, but I gave he did that thing to where I'm sure Athena has done to you where they're just like, Dad, give me a list of old horror movies to watch. And it was just such a great experience, and yeah, I had him watch Rosemary's Baby, and a list of things. He loved Hell House. He loved, but what he loved the most was the original Haunting. Nice. And that just made me the most happy and proud that I've ever been.
That's a damn near perfect film.
It's a perfect film, and so yeah, just that connected with a younger generation. You know, when was that made? 1960?
Yeah.
I think. And so cool.
Yeah.
So this is a good example of our bonus shows where we talk about something specific and go off on many more tangents than we do on our normal show. I don't know. Do you think equal? Do you think
I think we're actually a little more focused on the bonus show usually than we are on the main show.
I feel like I'm taking us off side roads, onto gravel roads a lot more this episode. I apologize. I can focus up, but I also don't want to give too much away about Wolfen, honestly. Like I think that we've reached a point in talking about the plot where we love it. Giving you a basic overview of it, and please watch it. Like, it's not streaming on any services right now, but it's not
Free,
it's
not free.
not free. It's $2.99 on like Apple and Amazon and all that. Way worth it. Totally worth your $3 to watch this.
Yes. Typically we'll try and choose something that's free. These 4 1981 classics are not. I think Full Moon High is, but
I thought American Werewolf in London is on Amazon right now, actually.
You're right.
I think it's on Prime.
But yeah, we typically try and do it like with something on Tubi or something that's free that you can just stream with ads or something like that. But these ones we can't. And I will say that this film is slow. And I don't think that's a bad thing because it's got a lot of meat on the bones and it's got a lot going on. But if you're looking for, we watched The Howling last week and we're going to watch American Werewolf in London next week. And those are both very crowd-pleasing, quick-moving and brisk and darkly comical horror films. And this is not. This is a meditative, plotting, and not as an insulting way, but like a very like methodical crime film and a character study of people with a social and spiritual kind of bent to it. So, yeah, it's not get a six-pack with your buddies and throw popcorn at the screen kind of a movie. It's
no, not at all. Matt, I was reading that Michael Waldley, he never really made another film. He never directed another film. And his original cut was 4.5 hours long.
Does not surprise me at all. And it's a shame that stuff like that's not available. Like, that should have been a mini series, like a 2 or 3 night event.
Oh God, wouldn't that be amazing?
It would have been too long, but
Totally,
I think sticking to the book and just being like word perfect would have been cool. And Finney's performance was just, he's almost hypnotic in it. Like, just,
he is. I could watch 4 hours of Albert Finney in this film, and Albert Finney and Gregory Hines in the same room. I will easily watch 4 hours of that.
So I'm gonna say claw up.
Claw up for me too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch An American Werewolf in London. I haven't seen it, I don't think, since Renee and I went to the Hollywood and saw it when David McNaughton was there and did a Q&A afterwards, which is probably 10 years ago.
I watched it over COVID, so I probably watched it maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. And I feel like we should just get in front of this now and say, I don't think that if you're planning on tuning in next week, we already did a Landis and Son, talking about the difficult, whatever, John Landis and Max, his son. We already talked about that when we talked about a Max Landis episode of Fear Itself called Something with Bite. So I don't think we should retread the thorny issues of enjoying a John Landis thing because of the filmmaker and his shit.
Yeah,
if you're looking for that, listen to the Fear Itself episode from last season.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that in the Fear Itself episode, and yeah, Max Landis is just a fucking creep through and through, and a fucking asshole.
John Landis seems like a prick.
John Landis seems like a prick. He's a very talented prick, and maybe not as much of a criminal as Max Landis is, but still an asshole by far.
Twilight Zone might disagree with you.
Oh yeah, that's right. There were criminal charges against him.
And I'm one of the last people to say this type of thing, but I'm actually such a garbage person that I will say Blues Brothers and Animal House and An American Werewolf in London. Sorry, I got to take him. Same thing like Rosemary's Baby and like Polanski. Like, I'm just like, there's certain stuff where it's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I can't figure this out.
I know it's rough, and it's a personal choice that we all got to make.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't endorse anything he's done.
God no.
Since then, since
Well, definitely since then, and don't endorse him as a human being by far.
I don't retroactively erase people from before they were, like, I don't want to get controversial here, but according to the HBO special that came out like 2 or 3 years ago, Michael Jackson started abusing children during the Bad tour. So Off the Wall and Thriller are okay in my book.
I'm not touching this one.
Ow. Okay, so yeah, if you want some more of this hot take soup, go to patreon.com /Werewolf by Night podcast and join up. At the $2 level, you get the audio version of this, but we really do usually have more visual stuff going on. So we recommend you do a higher tier, like 3, 5, or 10. And that's where we get the shout outs and all that fun stuff as well.
For sure.
All right. I have the urge to scourge, my friend.
I always have the urge to scourge. Let's hear that song.
Oh, yes, they call him the Scourge. He's got a villain killing urge. If there's a baddie around, the Scourge will mow him down. So play a funeral dirge. Yeah! Okay, so we are talking about the Avengers number 263, which is January 85 pull date. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Have you read this issue?
No, I don't remember this issue.
Did you read the Avengers much in the 80s at all?
Not in the 80s, no. I did not. I just I didn't touch the Avengers for a long time, which is weird, and I probably missed out on a lot of shit. But no, I didn't.
There's some fun stuff. This is a Roger Stern run.
Oh, okay.
There's a beloved story that I didn't care for teen books at all as a kid of this age, 10. I was always into the solo stuff, but there was a storyline here where the Masters of Evil take Avengers Mansion away and occupy it essentially and take it over. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a really cool storyline. So even being anti-team, I thought that was a cool book. But this one here is written by Roger Stern. It's got breakdowns by John Buscema. Tom Palmer is the finisher. Jim Novak is the letterer. Christy Scheel is colorist. Man, she worked a lot in the 80s.
She worked a lot.
Mark Grunwald was the editor at this point, and Jim Shooter was still editor-in-chief. So this starts off with a group called the Enclave, who I believe are behind the creation of Adam Warlock and she, or her. I can't remember what her pronoun thing is. But these guys are trying to escape with some cargo, and they're being pursued, and this doesn't matter. Nothing in this issue matters except what we're going to talk about, because it is a hard smash cut into a cutaway that has nothing to do with anything. So, elsewhere, out of nowhere, ha ha ha, that's it, Avengers, fly away while you can. Idiots, it was so easy to train a surveillance camera on your famous mansion. And then this henchman says, I still don't see what good that camera does us, Melter. That's why you'll never be more than hired muscle, Keegan. But I'll explain one more time. By keeping watch like this, I'll be able to tell when the whole team is assembled in the mansion. Then when I'm certain they're all there, I'll use my improved melting ray to destroy them, mansion and all. After I've destroyed the Avengers, no one will ever laugh at the Melter again. Once I strap on the ray projector, I'll become totally... What? Keegan? Yes, Melter. That's the real Keegan. I've got your melting device right here. But that's not all I have. Boom. Yay! Justice is served.
One page.
The Scourge has struck again. That is the Urge to Scourge for this week.
Sometimes they're tiny. Sometimes they're one page. Sometimes they're like 3 panels.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times they're going to be damn close to an issue.
Yeah, what's your who's the Melter? Like, who did he get introduced through?
I thought Spider-Man, if I'm correct.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, for sure.
Damn. I always thought he was pretty lame.
Yeah, not my favorite. Even though, I mean, doesn't he have a really cool cover in the early ASM run where it's all black? It has
that
like
him?
I thought so.
That was Molten Man.
Oh, that was Molten Man. You're right. I don't
You're
know
thinking of
what the
a
fuck
cool
I'm talking
character.
about. I'm thinking of a cool character.
No, okay. So
not
this
the
guy was
Melter.
introduced in Tales of Suspense, and he was specifically created to ruin Iron Man's armor. That's his whole gimmick.
I don't give a fuck then.
Yeah. Well, he's dead. So
Well,
how do you feel
God.
now?
I feel great, actually.
Okay, good. All right. So that's typically where we would kind of go off of a format and just either talk about what we've been reading or listening to or watching, stuff like that. But we actually were notified that someone has produced a Werewolf by Night reading guide online, and they thought maybe we would take a look at it and give some feedback. So I thought, hey, let's do that live together. So I will be posting this in the show notes so people can check it out themselves. Let me just pull it up and share my screen. So this is on thecosmiccircus.com. And yeah, so I'm excited. I've been leaning heavily on reading guides since I started doing library binding of comics, but also since we started doing this show, kind of triangulating people's different versions of like what you need to read in order to move on through a book. So I imagine this mostly covers what we covered in season 1. So I thought we can look at this together. So there's a little bit of historical stuff in here, like which we covered in our first episode, the relaxing of the Comics Code, which brought an onslaught of horror-themed comics in the early 70s. We also talked about how flabby the superhero books had kind of gotten, particularly the Avengers, by the late 60s.
Oh, yeah.
So it was time for something new, and this was a great thing. So a quick start, they recommend you start on Marvel Spotlight. So this is everything's in order. Interesting. So the intro in Marvel Spotlight, then jump to the main title up through 5, and then they recommend you skip up to Topaz's introduction.
Nah, I don't know if I'm down with that. What about the Carnival of Blood? What about I don't know. I get it. I mean, I think they're probably doing that because Jerry Conway stepped away for a little bit. You had different writers. I mean,
who was that? The Carnival. Who wrote that? Was that?
I think it was Len Wein.
It was Wein. You're right. And we were not over the moon with the pairing of Wein to Werewolf by Night.
No, but most of those issues are Plug, right? I mean, I would consider anything that's Plug to be canon and worthy of reading.
Yeah.
But I get it. No, I mean, the introduction of Topaz is obviously one of the best things. So I totally get it.
And this is a quick start. So this is a bare bones
True.
Desert Island selection. So okay, fair enough. He's got the all-important crossover with Tomb of Dracula. Wow, actually, he jumps out of the classic era pretty fast. Oh, okay. I have issues. Holy shit. Okay. I did not realize this was the end of the original run.
Is that what issue?
23.
Okay. Yeah,
I take umbrage.
Okay.
He does go through the end of the three werewolves storyline, the werewolf ring, which is one of my all-time favorites. I believe that's here.
Yeah, that's your favorite.
So I think he's jumping off at either what was this the muscle strongman story? Was it Atlas?
Yeah, Atlas.
So he's saying Bale at Atlas and Deprave.
I mean, I get it. Like
no Glitter Knight.
No Glitter Knight. And
no Brother Voodoo.
I mean, I really think he probably should have included the Brother Voodoo issues. But Matt, you and I are completists.
Listen.
Okay.
You need to have the final arc before Tony Stark shits the bed, because you need to see Brother Voodoo but you need to see how the three who are all gave him the power over because I mean you're missing how a major change in this character happened. So I would say put in issues 36, 37, 38 or whatever.
So you think those should be the Glitter Knight focused issues, basically the three who were all focus issues.
Bale on the introduction of Glitter Knight and the Werebeast, Lissa.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can totally skip that. So who did this again? Is this someone that listens to the show? Is this someone we know?
Um, he does writing. He's followed us on Twitter for a long time, so I thought it'd be fun to check this out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know you're going to take umbrage, but like he even says at the start of this is a quick start thing.
Yeah.
This is not getting bogged down in Glitter Knight, and I respect that decision. I might not agree with it being a completist, but I respect it.
Okay, so I don't know if you've actually read these yet, but this is a crime against humanity. This thing. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Oh, is that
my dad died when I was 7? So,
who is the artist on that again? That guy that rips off shit?
No, Greg Land drew the cover to this one.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're talking about? This is written by Dwayne Swierczynski, but I forgot who did the art. But it's terrible. Okay. It's absolutely atrocious.
I haven't read that.
What do you think about the inclusion of the MCP stuff?
Well, I'm not as familiar with the MCP stuff, so I can't, because that stuff, we're not there yet, and it's not easy to find. Like we've talked about before on the main show, Marvel Unlimited has the Wolverine and Hulk stuff, the first half of the Marvel Comics Presents stuff, but chose to not have the Werewolf by Night backup stories in there. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm gonna reserve judgment on that until I read it.
So as far as the 80s Doctor Strange stuff, I believe that this is where he's actually in the story, and these are the Book of Vigilanti.
Those are more of the history of the Darkhold. And I have read those. Yeah, it's very cool. And those Sorcerer Supreme issues are also pretty cool. Like I read those, right as we started this podcast, and I really like those actually.
So I was wrong. I'm sorry. He didn't bail at 23. He also included the first appearance of Moon Knight. There's a little Moon Knight subsection here.
Okay.
We just waxed orgasmic over these 2 issues here.
Yep, we did.
I have not read these. That's going to be reserved for my 90s as Lava. Like I thought we just do them like in bonus episodes at some point down the road. In a future season or something.
Yeah, but a lot of people that we know and respect really love that Mark Spector Moon Knight run. So I'm willing to give it a try.
Okay. We talked about this. It's very light fare, but it is like
it's fun.
You got to read it. I mean,
that's the first Legion of Monsters
meeting of I mean, and a lot of this stuff is new stuff. Jack's been around a lot more in the last 10 to 15 years as a side character in some of these more kind of fanciful monster rally, essentially what they would call them in the 50s, right?
I read the Legion of Monsters run, that 1 through 4, and Jack is not in it a ton. So I don't know. I don't consider that. It's not great. It's not bad. It was just a slightly forgettable to me.
Right. Same thing with Frankencastle. Like he has like 4 lines in the whole.
I know.
I mean, I love Frankencastle. Don't get me wrong.
It's pretty great. I love how hated it was and how people have kind of come around on it.
Yeah. So just continue on here. So there's links to a Moon Knight reading guide similar to this one, a Legion of Monsters one, Midnight Suns articles, a Morbius reading guide. This is a great little Man by Day, Werewolf by Night.
It seems like a pretty good resource. It might not be as comprehensive as you and I might like, but there's going to possibly be a lot more focus on Jack Russell and Werewolf by Night in the future. And so I feel like people who are looking for a jumping on point might find this reading guide very valuable.
I think that one of the particular values of this is like these breakdowns here where he's actually out, laying out who was steering the ship at that point. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that is fun, actually. No, a lot of thought went into this, and I appreciate the amount of work that someone put into the Jack Russell character.
Yeah, definitely. Look at this. There's little breakdowns of like key moments.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is my heart broke, by the way, when Topaz left.
I know. Yeah, that's the worst. She comes back though. She comes back in Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, is it her?
Kinda.
Yeah. Look at this. Guest appearances in the 80s. This is what we're doing right now, folks, by the way, in the season 3.
Yeah, this is basically our reading guide right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the appearances that we're covering on the main show on this 3rd season.
So extra reading.
Yeah, this is cool.
I'm trying to see if he's including this, because if he includes this, he's got my mad respect.
What do you?
His
What are you thinking?
extracurricular.
Oh, okay.
Although I'm not seeing it. But at least the cover's there. If you don't know,
the
folks,
Brother
this
Voodoo
is
one?
my first Werewolf by Night comic I ever bought, so it's like my favorite. Alternate universes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Topaz extra reading. Gregor
like that.
Rusoff.
I don't know, man. This is pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, it is.
That's very comprehensive. I can't wait to get to that West Coast Avengers issue.
Yeah, and the sad homage to Moon Knight 29.
It's a pretty sad homage, but but who can do better than Sienkiewicz?
Nobody, but I mean,
Nobody.
come on.
I know.
Silver Iron Man. Get the fuck out of here. Wow, yeah, this is very comprehensive.
It's very
Nice work.
comprehensive. Yeah, very, very nice work. I gotta admire that.
So yeah, we'll put a link to this in the show notes here. If you want to check this out yourself, I recommend it. There's that one shot I was telling you about a long time ago that I was saying, why the hell did they not do this before? Like black and white, 48 pages,
That's cool.
anthology of just all their supernatural characters. Like that should be an annual thing.
Yeah, that X Factor issue is actually pretty good too.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that one.
I think that's Peter David X Factor, and I do remember that one. It's actually pretty cool.
What era is that in?
I don't know, early 2000s maybe.
Have you ever followed up with Vampire by Night? It's like his niece, like it's
No.
Lissa's daughter. Maybe we should talk about that at some point.
We should, because I mean, who knows, that character might come up again in something important.
Yeah. Wow, Darkhold reading guide. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Nice work here, buddy.
Yeah. Very
And-
nice work.
Yeah, guys, check this out. The links, like I said in the show notes. Well done.
Yeah, very well done.
I like that it's not just a vomiting of publishing order chronology. It's actually thoughtfully laid out. It's even like in a pinch you could skip these, which barring a small thing, I agree with. And yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's really cool. That'll come in handy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for sending that to us. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear, but that's what we gave you. All right, folks. Well, that's a little sample of what the bonus show is typically like. If you think that's something you would like to get every week, please go to patreon.com/werewolf by night podcasts and join us at a level that gets access to that. We would love to have you. Jacob, you want to get us out of here, brother?
Yeah, so what we normally do is say that was the bonus show, and may your fur never bristle in the moonlight. Oh, very nice.
Stay furry, friends. I forgot I had this shot here.
Take it now.
And that is the bonus show.
Accurate.
Just keep doing this.
Very accurate.
Keep doing this.
Oh, shit.